You're watching the Fox 5 Morning News at 7.
Former Team USA gymnastics Dr. Larry Nasser was sentenced to up to 175 years in prison.
The judge had some very harsh words for him when she delivered that punishment. Take a listen.
Sir, I'm giving you 175 years, which is 2,100 months. I just signed your death warrant.
Ooh.
Here with more civil attorney Deanne Arthur. Good morning and thank you for being here.
Good morning.
You know, many have been watching this over the past few days and weeks. This judge, Rosemary Aquilina, what do we know about this judge?
Well, she's no stranger to high-profile cases. She's had some high-profile cases. She's had cases in the media. She's actually also an author. She's a professor, and her background is in advocating for battered women and neglected children. So this was right down her alley.
You could tell with the way that she handled herself, the way that she speaks, she's very passionate about this.
Yes, and it's actually a little abnormal for her to insert so many personal facts and to talk about so many details. At one point, I think she even said, I wouldn't even send my dog to get treatment from you. That is very abnormal. Usually judges in those kind of situations try to put aside their personal feelings and just listen to both sides and issue a sentence.
I think I was taken back after watching so many different court cases. I think there was a time that Larry Nasser himself had addressed the court about all the victims coming forward and speaking, and she turned around to him and she looked at him and she said, really?
He made a big mistake in that he disregarded her just as he did the victims. He wrote a letter to her privately after he already pled guilty, disregarding his behavior, saying it was just treatment, and he had the misfortune of having a judge that took a lot of her personal feelings and biases and unloaded all of that onto him. And it wouldn't have gone well with a judge that even was unbiased, but with this, it really hurt him.
In that letter, the judge took it to heart. And she used it against him in court by saying, look at what you said about me. I'm not trying to get media attention here, because we know that she is passionate for issues just like what this case was all about. In that little sound that we heard, I just signed your death warrant. I don't know that I've heard judges say something like that. But what does that say to you, that a judge, she hates this guy. We know that, right? But usually they try to hide it a little bit better.
It was a little shocking. Usually in those kind of circumstances, usually a judge might make note of, you know, you wrote a letter to me and inquire further as to his guilty plea. If you wrote a letter which would be negating the guilty plea, she would inquire into that a little bit more, but not go far as to read it onto the record as much as she did and talk about her personal feelings. The problem there is she creates too much room for appeal. She's created too much of a record.
Really? Oh, you think so?
Yes, yes. Usually judges in those situations take in what they have to say and then issue the sentence. Not to say that there was anything appealable, but you don't want to create so much room for that.
Do you think she knows that, and does she care?
She's no stranger to this. She's definitely has a long background. I don't think she cared.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any appeals in this anyway. I've never heard of 156 victim impact statements in a sentencing. Is that unheard of to you? 156?
Yeah. It's abnormal, not because that the victim should be downplayed, just because we still have to negotiate the time. We have to negotiate the court's time, taxpayer money, and all of that. That's why it's abnormal in that sense.
All right, Deanne Arthur, civil attorney, thank you for being here. We appreciate it.